They don't control you with chains. They don't need to. Control today is silent, invisible, smiling. And if you don't learn how it works, you'll live your whole life believing every thought in your head was yours. But it wasn't. It never was. Let me show you something. There's a man sitting at a cafe. He checks his phone. Laughter echoes. The sun is out. It looks like freedom, but inside, he's a slave. To approval, to habits, to a life scripted by someone else. He'll never rebel, because he doesn't even know he's trapped. And here's the part that should terrify you. You might be him. Every time you silence your gut just to be liked, every time you say yes when you meant hell no, every time you scroll for hours because you deserve a break, that's not freedom. That's programming. And if you don't learn the rules, you will play the part they've written for you. But here's the forbidden truth no one dares tell you. The world doesn't reward the good. It rewards the strategic. So let's begin. You were born into a psychological battlefield, and no one handed you a manual, and no one taught you how people manipulate, dominate, deceive with a smile on their face. You were trained to obey, not to observe. To follow, not to question. But you can change that. If you're brave enough to look at the ugly mechanics of human control and use them. Let's start where they hook you first. Emotional dependency. The quickest way to control a human being is to make them chase validation. Once they crave it, they're yours. Think of dogs. Ring the bell, give a treat. Repeat. Now think of social media. Likes, hearts, views, dopamine drip. You keep coming back, hoping someone tells you, you matter. But here's the trick. The moment you need someone else to tell you who you are, you're theirs. And they don't need chains to own you. Just praise or silence. It's the same with toxic people. One moment, they flood you with affection. The next, they withdraw. You're confused. You chase. You think, what did I do wrong? And just like that, they win. Because now your emotional state doesn't belong to you. It belongs to their moods. You gave them the remote to your self-worth. But what if you took it back? What if, starting today, you stopped begging for emotional crumbs from people who starve you on purpose? What if you could walk away from anyone without your soul crumbling? You'd be dangerous, and they know it. That's why this next truth is hidden. They train you to self-censor, not with guns, not with violence, but with shame. They make you doubt your instincts, question your thoughts, bury your power beneath politeness. Don't say that. That's not appropriate. You're too intense. Translation? You're getting close to the truth, and that scares them. Because when you stop silencing yourself to keep the peace, you start creating storms that expose who's been lying. And the world hates people who stop pretending. You've seen it. That one man who says the thing everyone's thinking, and suddenly everyone attacks. Why? Because honesty is a threat. It's uncontrollable. Controlled people are easy to manage. But authentic people? They set others on fire. And here's where it gets real. The more you censor your truth, the more you die in pieces. First your voice, then your dreams, then your will. Until one day, you look in the mirror and wonder, who did I become? You didn't become someone. You were erased. But not anymore. Because if you're still watching, some part of you is already waking up. You're starting to feel it. The burn in your gut when someone disrespects you. The voice inside that says no more. That's not anger. That's clarity. That's your power, crawling out of the grave they put it in. And now that it's awake, you need to protect it with everything you've got. Because the next layer of control is even darker, and it's happening to you every single day. They don't break you by force. They break you by confusion. They flood your mind with noise until you can't hear yourself think. News, ads, trends, outrage, constant stimulation, endless distraction. You're not choosing your thoughts. You're reacting to them. And when your mind becomes reactive, you're no longer living, you're being lived. The real game isn't about making you obey. It's about making you forget what freedom even feels like. And the most powerful weapon they use? Language. Think about it. They didn't call it manipulation, they called it influence. They didn't call it censorship. They called it community guidelines. They didn't call it control, they called it safety. Words are weapons. Once they control your vocabulary, they control how you interpret reality. And if you can't describe it, you can't resist it. That's how entire societies sleepwalk into control. Not with guns, but with carefully chosen words. You hear something enough times, you start believing it's your own thought. They plant seeds, and you water them yourself. I'm not good enough. I should be more grateful. I should just stay quiet. These aren't truths. They're viruses. And you've been infected. But the cure is brutal. You must question everything, even the things that make you comfortable. Especially the things that make you comfortable. Because comfort is the drug of the controlled. Look around, you'll see it. Men who once dreamed of building empires now spend hours watching strangers live their lives online. Women with fire in their hearts now crippled by self-doubt, obsessing over likes, stuck in comparison loops. Genius minds, distracted into submission. And they think it's their fault. They blame themselves for being tired, anxious, lost. But it's not your fault. It was designed this way. The system doesn't want you to wake up. It wants you numb. Because a numb population is predictable. A numb population doesn't question authority. A numb population will hand over its freedom and say thank you. But once you feel that spark inside you, that uncomfortable feeling that something's wrong, you can't unfeel it. And that's your edge. Because now we go deeper. Let me show you how real power operates. You think people control you through orders? No, they control you through insecurity. The most dominant people in the world rarely raise their voices. They simply trigger your self-doubt and let you destroy yourself. It's subtle, it's elegant, it's deadly. A toxic boss doesn't need to yell. They just raise an eyebrow when you speak, and you shrink. A manipulative partner doesn't scream. They just say, "Are you sure you want to wear that?" And your confidence dies. They plant seeds of doubt, and you water them with your own fear. Because they know the golden rule of control. The person who defines reality wins. That if they can make you question your reality, they can replace it with theirs. They'll convince you that you're too sensitive, too intense, too emotional, too much. And once you start editing yourself to fit their version of who you should be, you disappear. That's how they win. But what if you stopped giving them the script? What if every time someone tried to shrink you, you expanded? What if you made their disapproval irrelevant? Now you're dangerous. Because now you've remembered a truth they hoped you'd forget. Your mind is a battlefield, and you are both soldier and general. And once you claim that battlefield, the war changes. Because then you start to see it. All the subtle games, the fake compliments, the backhanded praise, the friendly suggestions meant to clip your wings. You stop being played and start watching the players. This is where you start transforming. You start using their tactics, but for liberation, not domination. You observe. You listen. You study people's motives, not their words. You stop reacting and start calculating, and suddenly, you're not the one trying to be accepted. You're the one deciding who's worthy of access to your world. This shift is violent, not physically, but psychologically. Because the people who once loved your obedience will now hate your freedom. They'll say you've changed. They'll call you arrogant, selfish, cold. But what they really mean is, you're no longer easy to control. And that's the point. You weren't born to be palatable. You weren't born to please everyone. You were born to know yourself, fully, dangerously, unapologetically, and when you do, there's one final layer you must confront. The master manipulator inside your own mind, yes. The voice that tells you you're not enough. That punishes you for resting. That screams at you when you fail. That voice isn't you. It was created, trained, programmed. By parents, schools, society. It wears your face. It uses your tone. But it's not your soul. And once you see that, everything changes. Because now you're not just fighting the world's control, you're freeing yourself from your own. And that's when the real transformation begins. It's a terrifying moment, the first time you realize the prison was inside you. Not outside. Not them. Not the system. But the voice that whispered, "Stay small." You think, how many years did I obey a voice that was never mine? And the answer cuts deep. But that pain is your rebirth. Because the truth is, you were never weak. You were conditioned, softened, trained to be manageable. A lion taught to purr like a kitten. But lions don't forget how to roar. They just need to remember they have teeth. And now you remember. This is the moment your life fractures into two timelines. In one, you keep pretending, keep performing, keep shrinking, hoping the world gives you permission to live fully. In the other, you burn the mask, and you walk into every room like you own your blood, your story, your power. That second path is lonely at first, because real strength scares the hollow. People will try to pull you back. They'll say, "You've changed." No, you returned. You came back to your original form, untamed, precise, whole. And with that comes a shift. You stop seeking comfort. You start seeking clarity. That's what separates the manipulated from the master. Comfort is what they feed the docile. Clarity is what you earn through fire. You stop numbing your pain. You start dissecting it. Every insecurity becomes a tool. Every failure, a lesson. Every betrayal, a blueprint. Because here's the paradox of power. The more pain you're willing to feel, the less control others have over you. They can't shame you if you own your past. They can't guilt you if you've faced your truth. They can't manipulate you with fear if you're no longer afraid of yourself. And that's the turning point. You're no longer prey. You are now the strategist. You walk into conversations and you hear things others miss. You catch the flicker of ego behind the compliment. You feel the tension behind the smile. You see the game, and you no longer play it by their rules. You speak less. You observe more. You don't argue for approval. You assert your reality with silence and precision. Power doesn't shout, it simply is, and now, it's in you. You start crafting your boundaries not out of fear, but out of mastery. You no longer explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You don't beg for love. You don't chase respect. You embody it, and when someone tries to push your buttons, they find out your buttons no longer work. That's when everything shifts. You stop being controlled and start controlling the frame. The frame is the context. It's how reality is perceived. And the person who controls the frame controls the room. You stop reacting emotionally to provocations. You start reframing reality with calm precision. Someone disrespects you, you don't explode. You smile, you ask, "Is that how you usually speak to people you respect?" Now they're off balance. Now you set the tone. Because power isn't just what you say, it's what others feel when you say nothing, and people feel it. They feel when they can no longer predict you. They feel when your peace isn't up for negotiation. They feel when your silence is a decision, not submission. You become the mystery. And in a world addicted to loud, predictable noise, mystery is magnetic. People lean in. They listen closer. Because you're no longer seeking attention, you are attention. You move with intent. You speak with purpose. You live with eyes open. You are no longer the echo of others' expectations. You are your own signal. And now that you've taken your mind back, you start taking your life back. But there's one final test point, one final battlefield before you become untouchable. And it's not external, that it's not enemies, not critics, not even the manipulators. It's the one opponent that knows all your weaknesses, because it lives inside you. The final war isn't fought with fists, it's fought in silence, between you and you. You can escape the toxic people. You can cut off the manipulators. You can walk away from every lie ever sold to you. But if you don't conquer the voice in your own head, you'll still be a prisoner. That voice that whispers, "You're not ready. You'll mess it up again. Who do you think you are?" It mimics you, wears your face, talks in your tone. But it's not you. It's a parasite, a ghost stitched together from years of doubt, shame, and guilt. And here's what no one tells you. You don't silence that voice by arguing. You silence it by becoming undeniable. Not perfect, undeniable. You show up anyway. You speak anyway. You rise anyway. Every time you do what fear tells you not to, the parasite dies a little more. And in its place, your real voice returns. The one that says, I am not here to be small. I am not here to be liked. I am here to wake up. That voice has been waiting. It's the real you, unfiltered, unshaken, unowned. And when you let that voice lead, you stop following the path, you start carving it. People feel it. They look at you and they sense something they can't name. A presence, an intensity, a freedom that can't be faked. You become the person who no longer needs validation because you've validated yourself. And that, right there, is why most people never make it here. Because freedom is expensive. And the price is everything you were taught to be. But once you pay it, you don't just change. You arrive. You don't need to dominate others. You dominate your choices. You control your time. You protect your energy. And the world responds. You get different opportunities, different relationships, different respect. Not because the world changed, but because you did. And here's the secret: when you're no longer controlled by the fear of rejection, manipulation collapses. Because manipulation only works on those who haven't claimed their worth. The moment you stop apologizing for who you are, you become impossible to cage. And yes, some will walk away. Let them. You are no longer meant for people who need you to shrink. You are here to take up space. To speak hard truths. To disrupt the narrative. You are not here to play the part they wrote for you. You're here to write your own. And when you do, you stop attracting people who want to mold you and start attracting people who mirror you. Real recognizes real, and power recognizes power. You're no longer a pawn. You're the strategist. No longer reactive. You're responsive. And no longer lost. You're laser locked on your path. This is what it means to become uncontrollable. Not loud, not chaotic, but rooted, clear, untouchable. And this is your moment. Right now, you stand on the edge of two futures. Point one, where you return to the cage, safe, quiet, forgettable, and one where you walk into the fire and come out forged. Not everyone will choose the fire. But you didn't come this far to remain asleep. You're ready? And if you're still watching, you already know that. Now it's time to prove it. No more shrinking, no more waiting for permission, and no more dimming your brilliance to make others comfortable. You know the truth now. If you don't learn this, you'll always be controlled. But if you do, you don't just survive, you dominate. Not by force. Be why presence, be why principle, be why power. Your power. Now, go claim it. If this woke something up in you, don't keep it to yourself. Comment below. I will no longer be controlled. Like the video. Share it. Subscribe for more. This isn't entertainment. It's awakening. And the world is watching. Choose wisely. We're just getting started.